The following review may contain spoilers. The Five Bloods is the latest film from the great director Spike Lee. With a lot of Spike Lee movies, you finish the movie learning something. There's a scene where a character states the following statistic. African Americans were 11% of the population, but 32% of the soldiers in Vietnam. I mean, a fact like this alone made the film worth watching. Spike Lee's use of cinematic language is always great. The way he'll cut to a still photograph, use stock footage, play with the aspect ratios, and there's a very interesting idea in the film where he uses the older actors in the flashback sequences instead of using younger actors to replace them. So the older actors are alongside the younger Chadwick Boseman, and it's a really interesting idea and just purely cinematic. Spike Lee is also a man of great empathy. He and his co-writers give voices to the Vietnamese characters in this film. There's a couple of scenes where they talk about the war from their perspectives and the pain and suffering that they've endured. This reminds me of a couple of scenes in Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing where he gives the Korean grocery store owners a chance to give their perspective on the issues. They weren't just caricatures, as we saw some things from their points of view as well. But the single best thing in the film has to be Delroy Lindo's performance. As we all know, it's a strange year for movies, but even with the limited amount of releases, we have to consider Delroy's performance as one of the best of the year, and he's a shoo-in to be a frontrunner for year-end awards contention. He slowly delves into madness, and he plays this with such authenticity. He even talks in gibberish in several scenes, which is not really something you can exactly script. Delroy Lindo is brilliant in this film. Terence Blanchard's distractingly bad score. I feel like he's doing a score for another movie entirely, and he's not even paying attention to what's happening in the film in front of him. There's battle scenes where it feels like the score is for some classic Hollywood sweeping romance and not a Vietnam War movie. It's interesting because Terence Blanchard and Spike Lee collaborated on another film called Miracle at St. Anna, and I remember thinking the same thing while watching this movie. During the battle scenes, the score was distracting and did not fit the film that I was watching. For the most part, Terence Blanchard has done solid work throughout his career, but here I felt like I wish Spike Lee would have used less of the score, especially in the battle scenes. There's a few battle scenes where it has no score, and it's way more effective and moving than with the Blanchard score. Another minor negative thing is the cinematography. A few scenes it looks pretty flat and dull, not super interesting. For lack of a better term, it looks kind of cheap or low budget, and I wish it was more interesting. I looked up the cinematographer. His name is Newton Thomas Siegel. He's mostly worked with Bryan Singer. I'm a lifetime film buff, and I've never looked up his name once. Well, you can't get Roger Deakins every time. You can't get Robert Richardson every time. This is a powerful film with a great story and a great lead performance from Delroy Lindo. My final rating for the film is 3.5 stars. As of the making of this video, The Five Bloods was 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, which means the critics were just about right. Spike Lee is a prolific director, and I've seen 13 of his films. Haven't seen them all, but here's a quick ranking of those that I have seen. At 13, the aforementioned Miracle at St. Anna. At 12, the pointless remake of the Chan-wook Park masterpiece Old Boy. At 11, Summer of Sam, an okay film, but I felt like John Leguizamo was miscast in this film. Great actor, but did not fit this role. At 10, He Got Game, a great Denzel Washington performance, but I just felt like the whole thing was a little bit of a mess. At 9, The Great Black Klansman, deserved all the awards it got that year. I'll put Clockers at number 8, a solid effort with a great cast including Harvey Keitel. The underrated Crooklyn at number 7, I really suggest you go out and find this film and watch it. I'll put The Five Bloods at 6. I'm going to put 25th Hour at number 5. Again, Spike Lee is expertly using cinematic language here. I'm going to put Do the Right Thing at number 4. I know a lot of people think this is his best work, but I just wasn't sure what the message of the film was. When the film was over, I just was not sure ultimately what the film was trying to say. But there's so many good ideas in this film, I can't put it any lower in the list, so I'm going to stick it at number 4. At number 3, The Expertly Crafted Inside Man. I think this is just a great film. At number 2, the incredible HBO documentary series When the Levees Broke. 4 hours long, but not a second of it is boring. And at number 1, the Scorsese-esque masterpiece Malcolm X. One of the great performances of all time by Denzel Washington. Spike Lee is one of the greatest voices in cinema, and he doesn't seem to be slowing down a bit. If you follow directors' careers, many seem to continue to work well into their old ages. Let's hope for film buffs that he also follows this path.